นี้ได้แน่นอน No, I get.
Make it focuses on.
Talking about
Okay, cool.
the presentation, the notation does not go here. That's what I'm saying. The mic only works with the camera.
Yeah, so that when you speak.
If you present, not. This system allows you to run individually.
Okay,
So you can say only my own. But this, you see.
Yeah.
But now the person sitting here, see like this.
We are like the, yeah.
Are we able to take seats and commence with the meeting as we welcome the Deputy Mayor? And we welcome the Grootman Wago Sports and the MEC for Finance. Premier.
Thanks so much. Can you see I'm the capacity that Gwedeman Dash was speaking of?
No, he wasn't.
The capacity that is needed. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much. I want to acknowledge the presence of all the MECs that are here. The executive mayors, thank you so much. I always appreciate your presence. HODs, advisors, and the support staff. I'm told Tshwane is ready for us. They've arranged a series of site visits, so the presentation is not going to be that long, so that we can afford Tshwane to showcase. And those that support the team that wears some yellow stuff, they can also have a moment to go and watch that team later this evening. But I think we'll break with protocol and allow the executive mayor, together with the deputy executive mayor who are here. Thank you for joining us, just to give us a word of welcome. And then I'll come again just to outline a few issues. And immediately after that, I'll hand over to chair of the session. But thank you so much for welcoming us and the hospitality. We truly appreciate it. Executive Mayor.
Thank you very much, Grajonti of Gwedemantashe. And good afternoon to you, Premier, DG, your executive MECs, Executive Mayor Dr. Nasipi Moya. In the ANC ranks now, we're speaking about qualifications, and soonest we'll be wearing our gowns and taking a group photo of all the councillors who got academic qualifications. Yeah, we'll do it soonest. But at any rate, we want to appreciate your visit here. Welcome to the City of Champions, and we are looking forward to a healthy discussion. And we are ready indeed, Premier. Actually, we are delighted to be part of the G20, the first on the African soil. It's remarkable. Whether Trump comes or doesn't come, this will be a fruitful and historic moment. So we are looking forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Deputy Executive Mayor, Premier, MECs, the MMCs that are here, fellow executive mayors, HODs, DG, your team, and all the colleagues that are here. Welcome to the city of Tshwane. We've been waiting for today, Premier, in terms of hosting. As I said to you, we are ready for you. In a way of overachievers, we have over-prepared. So it's a menu of choices that you will have in terms of where we go. But I think, Premier, we can, as I've said in other meetings, and that's why I made sure that my colleagues do join, is that the city of Tshwane is ready to make its contribution to a successful hosting of G20. We are very proud, Premier, that we were able to be with the city of Johannesburg in the hosting of the Mayoral Summit over the weekend. It was a success, not only for Gauteng or South Africa, the whole continent. I think the continent can be proud that we were able to deliver the quality of outcomes in that track. It's said that Mayor Morero is not here, so we can congratulate him for the successful hosting. But on our side, Premier, you will see in our presentation, we've been working extra hard to make sure that we don't drop the standards, so that as we prepare for G20, that Gauteng can also be proud of Tshwane's contribution. So we welcome you to the city of Tshwane. I can assure you, Premier, they will no longer be singing in these council chambers. In the spirit of the coalition, that's my guarantee to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Executive Mayor. Should appreciate that, and Deputy Executive Mayor. We appreciate together with your MMCs and stuff that you said. Colleagues, we are left now literally with 1 month. That's the month of October. So in whatever that we need to do, we need to conclude it at the least by end of October, which is next month. So literally we are left with 6 months to put our best foot forward to our visitors and those that will be here early to prepare for their principals. So we raised only 4 issues in the last meeting, which was mainly roads-related matters, from the road infrastructure that we needed to improve around to the Nazareth area, to the street lights, but most importantly, the ones that we felt we need to hand over to Sandra. Is Sandra still here? I hope they're still here. Is Sandra still here? Yes. And those that we said we need to hand over to Sandra so that we can conclude that arrangement. And then it will be the beautification of the entire province in terms of flags, flowers, and all those things that needs to happen. So the team made a presentation this morning. I'll ask the DG through the chair of the session to allow that presentation to take place. And I can see that looks like we're going to present to the converted, because 80% of the people who are in the meeting, the preparation meeting. We prepare first before we come here, executive mayor, so that we don't waste your time. But you said we have a presentation as well as City of Tshwane, isn't it? Or it's incorporated? It's incorporated. It's incorporated. Thank you so much. If it's incorporated, then it will assist us. Through you, chair of the session, MEC Diale Tabela. Can I hand over to you so that you can demonstrate your capacity to chair the meeting?
Thank you very much, Premier. I must say that it's nice to be home. Thank you very much, and good afternoon, colleagues, executive mayors that are here, MECs, the deputy mayor, Brabi. Yeah, you are Brabi forever. Thank you very much, colleagues. The agenda is before us. I saw it being flighted earlier, but maybe before we start is that there are apologies. Please accept apologies from MEC Ramokhopa. She's currently in Cape Town. MEC Madume Chilwani is unable to attend. He has a portfolio committee. MEC Human Settlement, MEC Mutara, is unable to attend due to the NCOP local government, but the HODs are here. I saw Grootman Wako Sports is here, and I also saw HOD Human Settlement is also here. I've not seen, let me see Ramakhupa's team. But the teams, the technical teams are here. It's only HOD Education who's not here. HOD for eGov will arrive late, and Councillor William Majeke will not be able to attend. Yeah, those are the apologies we have. Premier, I was saying to DG that we should have extended the invite to all the mayoral committee here in the city of Tshwane, because there has been great work done by colleagues who in different departments here in the city. We also have Mayor of Western District, apology, Mayor of Lesedi, Mayor of Midval, and Mayor of Mohale. He is sick, Councillor Sele, Municipal Manager in the Western. Some of these people are never here, most DG. And Municipal Manager of Rand West. Then City Manager for Tshwane will not attend due to, but the team and the champion is here. I saw him. And then the CFO in the Office of the Premier is unable to attend the meeting also. So these are the apologies that we have, and the ministers, even today, they are not here, and they had promised us that there will be a surprise visit by President. So we are waiting for that surprise visit. Maybe we'll get a tip off. So thank you very much. Oh. Okay, the Chief of Staff from Presidency just arrived. The last born of Premier is also arriving. Councillor Khadebe.
Councillor Khadebe.
He's the last born of the only son. He has those characters of the middle child. Thank you very much, colleagues, HODs that are here. I think you know the drill, no thesis, feedback, and we identify challenges, all of us, and come up with a plan for implementation. So we welcome also the colleagues from BMA, and yeah, as you are arriving, DG, over to...
But where are the taxi associations? I don't mean to apologize.
Would you say, where's the taxi associations? Who's doing that?
Anthea.
Afternoon, Premier, NECs, Executive Mayors, colleagues. We have extended the invitation to the chairperson, even following up via telephone calls and emails. They did not give us an indication of their absence or attendance today, unfortunately.
Can we request that you work closely with the Secretariat of Gauteng Taxi Industry to assist you? I think HOD Mdadan will delegate someone that, because they are very traditional. Maybe they need Department of Roads and Transport to be the ones inviting them. So let's try to get them in the meeting. But they had committed in the last Friday that they'll come to the meetings. Premier, we raised the issue that you are concerned that they are absent. The agenda items are standard.
So before I leave past that, the ward councillors of the area, because we also extended an invitation that there should be permanent members of, not of your area, Nazareth area. Sorry, yeah, the Nazareth precinct. Anthea, can you check that as well? The ward councillors.
Will do, Premier.
I also saw a poster of Samu saying, no whatever, no G20. So maybe it may compel us that we get a representative of labor. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much. Maybe what we will request is for Anthea to also involve the labor, maybe at the provincial level, both Nehau and SAMU, or perhaps COSATU and PSA, IMATU, so that we are able to also integrate them as we move. Thank you very much, DG. But to colleagues, the agenda is standard. It's consolidated presentation that also includes municipalities and entities, infrastructure, report, environment and beautification. Those are the three reports that we'll focus on. If colleagues have any other thing, they should indicate. So we have requested law enforcement report, DG. I will not move from that one. There's no such a thing like there's reports that we should not know about. If it's intelligent issues that we should not know about, they should not be reported, but we need a report. We need to know what are the risks so that we start working on. MECs and mayors that are here, they don't want to be surprised by any community unrest, because somebody must start guiding them on who to engage, what stakeholders are crying about. We saw the SAMU one. Do we have many others? And what then becomes the role of public reps that sit in these meetings? Surely everybody here wants to know how do they dirty their hands in ensuring that we have a successful hosting of G20. So law enforcement must come and give report. The country's problems, at the center of it is law enforcement. So thank you very much. DG, over to you.
MEC, thank you. Thanks, Premier, MECs, mayors, colleagues. We, maybe just to confirm, yesterday at the technical committee we received a report from South African Police Services, but it was in relation to vandalism, and we made a request that the Provincial Commissioner should send out a report and representation, MEC, in the context of law enforcement in all its facets, and we take note of that. The second big issue that we have just spoken to, and in my conversation with Roshin from the presidency, is the consultations that we need to take with the symmetry that Calgro group at NASREC. It has been raised that it is a matter that we need to elevate. It's a request that comes from the office of the president, and I think we will do that. And the third one is on labor. Perhaps we would invite them, but we had also had discussions separately, and perhaps in the same way that we would organize a separate session just to bring them on board, we will do the same for labor with Ms. Mamabolo and the Premier and yourselves to deal with it as part of the process. I'm wanting to, Makabu, I'll deal with this report so that those that come after, they must take cue on how we present. If I fail, then they would have failed as well, if we can. MEC's Premier, the political meeting last week had identified a number of spaces, and actually in my conversation again with Roshin, she made mention of the exit road that will be used by the heads of state and the piece of land around that area, HOD Rufus. There was an issue about the assessment of traffic lights on major routes, the engagement with Sandral on fog spraying of major routes leading to the port of entry. NASREC and identified areas, but equally in terms of road markings and the stormwater drainage. The report that Herbert will present, Premier, Chairperson MEC, will show how far we have come to deal with. I think we are sitting at 85% in respect of that. As in terms of progress with each one of those, it has been identified that from the matters raised, the Nazareth Road is still in good condition, but it would require a number of issues. One, to control for vegetation that was growing on the footways, but work has commenced to deal with that. The adjacent roads around the precinct of the Expo Center, Rifle Range Road, Renshaw Road, and the Renshaw Road between Nazareth Road and N1 would also require attention, and I think it was also raised. The assessment of Grayson Drive was conducted, and it was found that indeed it just requires law enforcement, and there is good progress on pothole patching, grass cutting, litter picking, and guardrails, but the next report that will be presented will show that particular area. We continue to do this work, and we will monitor what still remains to be done. On the next slide. On the next slide, we also then talk about the beautification. This is an area of work that we had not presented before, and we have asked the HOD for Environment to demonstrate the work that the Department of Environment is doing in conjunction with the municipalities. But we can indicate that at this point there were some work packages that were still in planning stages with municipalities. However, also with a view that the real beautification plan was intended to start in October to avoid vandalism and theft. However, we raised an issue that cleaning and cutting must just begin in order that it can start to give life to the area. There are a specific number of issues that came also from municipal reports, because, for example, the city of Tshwane had indicated about the beautification, also the dressing of the city with 85 flags having been procured and their poles, that the city of Johannesburg in terms of maintenance of horticulture and agricultural site indicating the 86 and 88% progress that has been, and the restoration of the water feature, which is now at 96%, and the Sidibeng region also planting 7,000 trees in that particular regard. At the level of safety and security, MEC, you've just raised that particular matter. As we indicated, we did receive a report from the SAPS, but it was more about vandalism, and the ultimate end point for copper and all of the materials that are stolen from traffic lights and related matters. The report began to show that we are at the point where SAPS, together with many other structures, are beginning to have an interaction and using intelligence-driven approach to engage or to apprehend or stop vandalism where it was occurring. And we will continue to monitor this work as we move on. On the next slide, the BMA reported, based on the request for an additional capacity to manage port of entry, there have been discussions actually between the BMA team and the Department of Community Safety about the deployment of the wardens. An MOU would be signed, but it does not stop the process of deploying those young people to the area. A few issues were raised beyond just about the G20, because it was also about how this group of young people will be able to help the country also manage other processes even beyond the G20 in respect of border management activities. We are waiting at this point that there may be a possible collaboration on e-policing initiatives like drone intervention, and that will be based on the MOU that would have been that will be concluded between ourselves. And this is a long-term issue we are talking about. We looked at specific municipal reports, and in this particular case, one of the big issues was an issue about power or lighting systems in the province. In terms of the city of Johannesburg, there was an issue about a case reported of a faulty substation that required maintenance, and we gave an indication of how far we have come. 96 substations are under maintenance, and the work is at 90% of completion. The solar high mast in areas like Malibongo, Chulanseria commenced already this month, and we hope that it will be dealt with. A key problem and a challenge that has been in the public and media space is an issue of water related infrastructure, and we give an indication that the city reported that there were no planned water disruptions for the period of the summit itself, but there's work that was continuing to repair all visible water bursts and leaks that may be identified. That's as far as we've received that report. We are at a point where we are continuously monitoring this byways and highways, and on the right side of this report we begin to show the number of areas that have been investigated, visited, in order that we could check the progress. There's 6 of the 843 roads that needed to an attention. 667 of them are already in tip-top condition, and they are ready, and we hope that the rest will be concluded by the time we finish off at the end of September. If we move on to the next slide. Last week, we visited the Disaster Management Center and the Emergency Medical Services to determine the readiness of the province in the unlikely event of a disaster or an emergency erupting. We had asked the team to go and tell us what is the staff complement, what is the bed capacity, and related matters. The report from the Disaster Management Center was presented, indicating a total of 84 staff complement at different disaster management centers across the 3 metros and the 2 district municipalities in the province. A large number of staff complement are, however, in the fire and rescue departments across the different spheres in Gauteng. And we also know that 300 Gauteng traffic wardens have been trained on disaster management since they have been taken on. And this is the team that will, should there be any need, will be pulled in to provide support as may be required. Just to give an indication that on the week of 8 to 11 October, there will be a multidisciplinary simulation of a disaster management or a disaster response should it occur, and I thought it was an important statement to make. The area that still requires a little more attention beyond what we would have given post the engagement that MEC Nkomorale Hoko had with the councillors is on stakeholder mobilization, and I think the comments earlier on of the Premier and the Chairperson MEC are beginning to point us in that direction. But we do know that the communications team has organized activities between September and November just to deal with specific sectors that may require communication. On the last bullet, we begin, just one back, we begin to also indicate what will be the next steps that are taken, and I think the last bullet would be communications campaign, as Premier was saying, about with municipal workers, law enforcement agencies, and the transport sector. So it is something that is within our purview and our attention. There are some meetings that are still taking place in the run-up to the Leaders Summit, and we just give an indication of those meetings that are happening in the province, and we don't have to go through. We can proceed on to our work will be measured by the extent to which these two meetings on our readiness, on how the social summit will come through, equally how the leaders summit will finally turn out. If these two big meetings that will be happening in November in the province are taken through at the point where everybody would be satisfied, we would have been able as a province to pull out a successful G20 Leaders Summit and be the great host. MEC Chair, Premier, this is the summary version of the report for the work that we have done since we convened last week. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, DG. There's a bit of omissions from your report. Premier in the morning spoke about an integrated command center with what MEC Ralohoko's office is doing. I know that in City of Tshwane there's Peter Delport. I don't know whether it still exists. The command center for disaster. And maybe perhaps Premier at this level, because we are an action-oriented team, we need to look into how do we integrate disaster management centers of municipalities to that of MEC Ralohoko. And my proposal, therefore, is we need a project manager for this who will report on what is to be done. And I want to, with the powers vested in me, leave it with MEC Ralohoko and HOD Malutani. Is that fine, Premier? Is that great? So we integrate both the law enforcement with HOD Mukhorosi, as well as all municipal disaster management heads. The other issue which I think, DG, from my side, it's not very clear, and the project timelines is not clear. It's cleaning of townships. In Tshwane, we had, it's nice to be home. In Tshwane, we had what used to be called City Sustainability Unit. I'm not sure if it still exists, but it used to talk to everything climate change and including the friendly environment. And in Gauteng, we have established a new department called Department of Environment, and all municipalities have some sort of waste management units. Our townships are very dead, so, and this is a risk for G20 DG. We need to know who's the project manager for this, and we need to really register progress in that. The last issue is water, which is a serious risk. My proposal, Premier, is that can we have City of Johannesburg and City of Tshwane reporting weekly on what is it that they are doing and what are the challenges, so that we know how to mitigate, but also have a plan, an integrated plan as a province. So those are my, the last one on law enforcement is a program around metal scrapyard sector. Somebody must be doing something about this DG. So we need those reports, whether is there policing around that, what is it that is lacking, do we need capacity, do we need legislative framework? But the sector is a threat to governance because it's impacting negatively on our infrastructure development. So we need to also get reports on that. Thank you very much. I propose that the technical teams must then assign different project managers that will be able to ensure there's integration of all the municipalities and there's proper reporting at this forum. Are there any other things, colleagues, that we picked up? MECs? There's no money. MEC Jovijo? Awusikhapanga, sikhuluma ngenyawupe kusasa. Kappa or Nexus? MEC Raluhuk?
The issue that we have raised on environment, I think it's something that we must all take up full responsibility in terms of assisting. Because I know even next to some of our hospitals and clinics, for example, you just see a color form, we need to make sure that we have teams that are working there. As much as the team environment will be doing some work, but we will definitely need a task team then that will be coordinated properly to the environment. That must identify those specific areas that work must be done. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Executive Mayors? Mayor Wang, want to say Kurulen, all right?
Mayor Wami.
Oh, I'm a GDM champion there.
Mayor
Sorry. Mayors, are you covered? Maybe another thing is to also integrate MMCs responsible for different work streams.
Extends to all MMCs.
Yes, as project leaders, especially on waste collection and environment colleagues. I think if we don't clean our townships, we'll be failing a lot of things. We're failing on a lot of things. Thank you very much. I think that's it on the first report. The next report, unless, yeah, you want to say something more?
I think just one thing, MEC, the previous reports had the issue of the taxi ranks and informal settlements. I see that is now not featured here. I've learned that the moment things fall off the presentations, we then go back to other priorities. So if we can just keep tracking so that we can keep talking about those issues of the informal taxi ranks and informal settlements. I think the issue of cleaning townships, MEC, if you have a way of borrowing us trees from province, please borrow us trees. The communities of Tswane want to contribute, but we've run out of budget for trees. So just we clean and we put something and not just clean and leave the area clean. But I agree with you on the issue of the cleaning of the townships. That's something that we continue to do. Thank you so much.
Perhaps just to maybe this report confuses. The next report, Mayor, will bring those dedicated aspects. So what this first report was seeking to do is to bring all of the other different reports so that we don't then go into individual, but we will lift up two specific reports, the one on environment and the other on infrastructure. But the infrastructure report will bring up the taxi issues. I know that Herbert's presentation does contain that. Thanks, MEC.
Thank you very much. It's today the 16th of September, and we said we need an environmental friendly program, and I just suggested to Premier that mayors should start engaging also MMCs so that we get them to be champions of something and we don't leave them behind. But we know that technically their teams are assisting. Over to you, DG.
Thanks, MEC. I'm going to request Herbert to lead us on this report. Herbert?
Thank you, DG. Good afternoon, Premier, MECs, Executive Mayors, HODs. I will be doing a presentation on infrastructure, and just to mention again that the infrastructure reports include all the authorities, municipalities, the province, and SANRAL. And at the beginning of the slide, I just need to touch on the issues that were raised last week in the political subcommittee meeting with regards to the issues that were raised. And I know, DG, you did cover some of these issues with regards to the Nasrec Road,
the back road, and GRA went to do an assessment, and they identified the Nasrec 5 as the back road that can be used for the heads of state to access the precinct. And if this information is or if this road is not the one, then I did speak with the Office of the Premier to guide as well. But from our assessment, Nasrec 5 was the ideal road to be used by the head of states to access the Nasrec precinct. And in the assessment, the road was found to be good, but it will, however, require a bit of spray and road marking just to rejuvenate the binder content of the road. And as the city of JRA, they require assistance from Sanral, and we engaged with Sanral. We still do follow-ups, and then if where possible, DRT will also come in to assist to make sure that that road is in good condition. Today they started with vegetation control and on the footways and scoffling and spraying of the chemical just to reduce the grass. And then JRA also did an assessment on the major roads around the precinct, which are also in good condition. Nasrec Road was recently upgraded by JRA, and then even the road markings have been completed. And then the issue of Precinct Drive has also been addressed, that the issues there is the taxis, and once the taxis are removed, from an engineering point of view, we'll have to do an assessment and check the coordination of the traffic signals to manage the traffic. And then the authorities are also compiling a list on the roads that can be transferred to Sandra. And then on the next slide, it indicates the activities that all the authorities are doing, the potholes, the road marking, the grass cutting, including the bit of fencing and light rehabilitation, guardrails, stormwater, inlets cleaning, traffic signals and street lights. And as we might see in terms of the percentages, potholes that we have identified, 1,223, we're currently at 97.2%. Road markings, there was movement last week. We hope there's also movement happening this week. We are at 48% from the 41%. Grass cutting, we're at 74%. We're now at 86%. Fencing, it's stalled, and that's the issue that the teams in the DRT are dealing with, because there was an issue with the contractor there, but it's been handled internally. There's light rehabilitation. It looks like there's a slight movement of 0.3%, but I can confirm that there was movement or progress on site. That was mainly because the city of Tshwane had to expand their scope in terms of patching, but that did not derail the progress that is happening on the ground. We currently at 90.3%, and with regards to the guardrails, we currently at 47.8%, and on the guardrails, it's also continuous inspection and monitoring, because they are always subjected to accidents every weekend, and always experiencing slow movement in terms of percentages. And also with the stormwater inlets cleaning, we at 92%. There's also movement there as well, because City of Tshwane did also increase in the number of stormwater inlets that they are to clean. But there's work that is currently happening. And in terms of the traffic signals, we're currently at 59% from the 53%. And then street lights as well, 78% from 76.8. And on this one as well, there was an increase in terms of the numbers from Sandra, where they also included the links between the interchanges with regards to the street lights that they have. So that number also increased. And then on the next slide is just the dashboard indicating the progress per authority. GRA, City of Kuruleni, City of Tshwane, DRT, including Sanral, with regards to the street lights, because in terms of their light rehabilitation, the highways are in perfect conditions. On the next slide as well, indicates the street lights and the traffic signals that all the authorities are reporting on. And as indicated that on Sandral, there were around 6,000 street lights. They are currently at 7,127 street lights that have increased. And there's also progress that's been taking place because most of their infrastructure is around 90% completed. On the next slide, it deals with the sinkholes, which is a major problem and major challenge now, because sinkholes should have been, they require more time to be rehabilitated. There isn't any one of the four that we've identified where there's works that has commenced. Even on the next slide is the Ronda Belt Snake Road. On that one, DRT is going to appoint a contractor before the end of the month. The contractor should be on site. And on the next slide, it's the sinkhole in Mohali City. We did receive a report from Geoscience, Council of Geoscience, but the investigation was a bit limited to enable us to continue with the rehabilitation of the sinkhole. And we are in the process of getting a detailed report. And then on this one, Unakolo, you might remember we went to Sandton and then visited that big hole, so we decided to put it in on this report so that we can also report on it. On Pretoria Road, Pretoria Avenue in Sandton, currently the progress is at 30%, and as indicated, the timelines has not changed. We expect the works to be completed by month end of October. On the next slide is the issue of informal settlement and illegal settlement. On this one, there is the status has not changed. We're currently waiting for the reports from the municipalities as indicated by the HOD for them to consolidate, and then we'll provide the report on the illegal and informal settlement in the next city. Next slide. You can continue. You can continue as well. Okay, this one is on the alternative technology. On this one, we'll also provide a detailed presentation in the coming week with regards to the technology that needs to be done on the street lights. Alternative technology of traffic signals has been presented for a number of times, and we're currently implementing that. And I can confirm that from the population of around 60, we only had 2 signals that were tampered with, and it's indicating that it's currently working. And with also pothole patching, we want to explore alternative technology for permanent fixing of potholes. On the next slide is the issue of the law enforcement. They are currently doing assessment, monitoring of our traffic signals. We gave them 150 traffic signals that they need to monitor daily, and then from the assessment, they identified 60 traffic signals that are working, and 40 have been converted to stop signs, and then 50 were vandalized. And then this vandalism does not include the new installations that we've done on the new technology. And on this one, it's an issue that we've escalated again to law enforcement to deal with the issues of the scrap metals, to assist with inspections. And we're also having an issue of homeless people directing traffic. We require law enforcement. We've given them a number, especially on Malibongwe, in terms of the challenges that we are faced with in that corridor. On the next slide, it deals with informal and formal taxi ranks. And in Ekurhuleni, they've got 75 informal settlement and 100 formal ranks. And in terms of the illegal taxi rank, they've got 74. Currently, they've only closed 3 informal taxi ranks, and they did appoint a service provider to assist with the cleaning of the informal taxi ranks, and they are engaged engagements with the law enforcement to assist with the closing of the illegal taxi ranks. And then also they are in the process of construction of a taxi rank to assist with the informal taxi ranks. In the city of Joburg, they are also identifying land to assist with the taxis that are informal within the CBD. In Tshwane, they have 9 informal, they've closed 8. They are still struggling with one taxi rank going to Tembisa, Donapolo, closer to Manhattan, and the city is working around the clock to close that one. Even in Sidiven, there's only one illegal taxi rank, and then the municipalities also appointed service providers to assist with the cleaning of informal settlement, as well as in the West Rand. They've got a number of, on the next slide, a number of illegal taxi ranks, around 21, that needs to be closed. And in terms of the licensing backlog, the department has set up a team of 29 officials to assist the City of Ekurhuleni and City of Johannesburg with the backlog. And then the remaining cities will be dealt with after we receive support from the DCS, and that information has been communicated. And then the department has also procured a public transport system to review the existing public transport licensing. And currently the department is busy with the customization of the new system. And then also the directional signs, the designs have been completed, they've been handed to the maintenance for them to allocate to the contractors to manufacture the street light, the directional signs. Once completed, they will be installed. And with regards to the perimeter fence, on the next slide, yes, DID was waiting for the delivery of the materials since they were ordering outside Gauteng. They were expecting that yesterday, and if received, construction should have started, and the due date is still as expected by the end of September that the fence will have been, the perimeter fence will have been installed. And with regards to the land parcels, on the next slide, there were 3 remaining land parcels that belong to the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, and the Department of Infrastructure engaged with the DG from the National Department to do an addendum to include the 3 land parcels, and we're currently waiting for an approval on that one. And then there's also land parcel that belongs to the private owners, which have been identified, and in their engagement, the matter projects raised the concerns, and they wanted to know full disclosure of the intended use, the compensation thereof, and also the installation of the perimeter fence. And with regards to the support that we are currently getting from the partners, it's also on assisting us with the connection of alternative power to the traffic signals, and we currently have 54 new MOUs, and we're hoping that by the end of October we'll have fixed or connected most of the traffic signals with solar systems from the partners. And as a department, we've also established a repeat response team. All the reports that we receive from the authorities, Sandra, they are on site monitoring whether the reports, the reports that we are getting can be confirmed, to check if they will repair a pothole, make sure that that pothole is being fixed, and they're currently reporting daily to the department on Monday. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah, on this slide, it's the activities that Sambral has always conducted. You can move to pass the slides. There's 2 slides more you can pass. And the next slide also indicates the flagship project. It's part of the summary slide that I've provided. Here is just the details of each and every activity like on the Atterbury Road, the street lights there that we're currently at 87%, but with my request to the team that within the mainland main area, they must make sure that those lights are 100% fixed, and I've received confirmation that within the mainland area, Hartsfontein Road, Atterbury, the lights are currently functional. On the R21, rehabilitation has been completed. Currently, Samral, they are at 92% completion of the street lights. On the R24, we're still lagging behind. On Malibongwe, traffic signals, there's current repairs that are happening as we speak on that corridor. On the R24 and on the N14, we at 40% completion in terms of the guardrails, and that's where we also experience high levels of accident every weekend, and it's pulling us back. Grass cutting has been completed. Next slide. On the R55 as well, Premier, in the morning, you raised an issue of the traffic signal along R562 and R55. It was flashing because we wanted to get, it's a big intersection. We did our assessment. I can confirm that it's currently working. On the R24 Bulis interchange, we are currently at 97%. And on Sunrise Standard, when they indicate 97%, it clearly means that all the lights are working. They are only dealing with replacement of bulbs. And then on Kristen Drive, street lights 96%, road marking is done. And Soweto Highway, street light repairs is currently at 28%, road marking is currently at 83%. Let me see, maybe because the information is just a full summary from the summary that I've indicated, maybe I should end it at this stage.
Thank you very much. I'm sure MEC Maile wants to know how do you make sure that the money you spend fixing and there's damage, how do you recoup it? And maybe DG, this is a work stream on its own. How do we collaborate with insurance companies? Because they are the ones with information. People claim from insurance companies after doing an accident. And maybe we should get assistance in that regard. Premier also likes speaking about talking to or engaging the financial sector on municipal rates, and I think there's a financial work stream to look into the engagement. What is the engagement? What are we engaging them on? Is it in a democratic country of like ours? How do we go about it? But most importantly, theft and vandalism of road furniture, especially when it comes to accidents from Thursday to Sunday in Gauteng. The interest, I think, from finance will be, I can't keep on giving you money. How do you get it back, especially from those who would have knocked on your robot drunk? So can we have that stream of engaging insurance companies and law enforcement? Because those are the two people that have information, and we look into, do we need a bill as a province that we knock off our robot, we fix it, and how do we recoup the money? The N14 is one of our economic roads, and according to your report, there's high accidents. We need to do a thorough analysis. What is the challenge there, and what needs to be done? And I think both City of Tshwane and Mogale City should have an interest on this, because it's also a route that connects the two cities. So that's what I picked up from your, that's all. The other one is, MC Tovito, is the homeless directing traffic. But not only the homeless directing traffic, on the off-ramp N14 and R55. There's women who are always sitting on our roads, I think also throughout R55, with kids. They look like Zimbabweans. What do we do to that? Can we have a program around that in social development to help us with that regard? I'm just suggesting, MEC, but maybe you can assist us as social development on that. don't know if there are any issues that we picked up. MEC, Chovicho, who's next to, oh, Tata, Srota. Who else? So I even know Lidi Tagazalazala Navodani. Thank you in that order.
Thank you very much, MEC. But if, unless there's a recurrence that they've come back again, it's one thing that we'll check. But the past weeks we are even monitoring all the rules. What we have discovered, they come from a certain camp in Haramkuwa, camp. We've also made a follow-up on that camp. And I think the city of Tshwane, but we are with TMPG, so we hope that they will call the Home Affairs officials to go and assist them in clearing that camp. So it's basically many people who are undocumented there. I was just responding on that. We are just monitoring, and we're working now with CPFs because they've got patrollers, so that then they further monitor where we have already removed them, and some were found undocumented, others we handed them over to Home Affairs. We don't know where is Home Affairs with them. But children, we've taken them to CYCCs, and we're integrating them with immigration. They are deporting them together with their children. Already others they've started deporting them, whilst others they are verifying their documentation. What happens is that MEC, so you find this child is not necessarily belonging to that woman. So as and when we've removed that woman and the child, the real parent will come and want to claim the child. And so it becomes a long process because you have to do DNA instead of handing a child to a person that is not necessarily the biological parent. Thank you very much.
Thank you, MEC. Tata?
No, thank you very much, MEC, Premier, Mayors, MMCs, MECs. On the question of your informal taxi ranks, I'm sure the Mayor would agree with me. Your area in its entirety here is actually surrounded by informal taxi ranks, right across the precinct where we are. It's not the only area. And I wanted just to propose that let's call in the NTA and Santaco. There must be a session, because I don't think the leadership of Abomlalazu on their own will not sit here and agree on even on an interim basis. And I think we are trying to solve a long-term issue here. So if we can quickly transport to really start that engagement. I know provincial transport alone doesn't have the responsibility of ensuring the acquisition of taxi ranks. 5B states clearly that is the responsibility of local government. So if local government and provincial government can agree on a session with both NTA and Santaco on us trying to clear some of these areas. I know as a matter of fact that in every town and city there are dedicated taxi ranks for each and every taxi association. They are. If there is any growth, let's rather talk about that and agree on how we deal with it, both in the interim, but 2 months might not necessarily be sufficient for a long-term solution on this matter. But I suspect let's start engaging on that so that we don't overstate our success and then get caught later on in a quagmire. On the question of traffic lights, I've noted that as much as we have been trying to resolve some of these problems, we cannot maintain the vandalism still continues, even in areas where we already done some work. My suggestion is that let's reactivate traffic police to do traffic management, particularly on your major arterial roads, which are going to be used by G20. Let's start activating them. Every municipality must actually give us the people that are responsible. I know traffic, metropolis, not everybody there is responsible for it, but there are people specifically trained for such, and that we actually identify the routes and be able to go to those particular areas and use those people to manage their own areas, and they must be measured in terms of traffic flow in their respective areas. On the question, for instance, if you go both to Atterbury, including the area in Wemapen Road where we have that sinkhole, including in Boxburg where we have that, we still need the management of traffic there. We are not going to resolve these two with immediacy, but in those two roads, let's have traffic officers managing the traffic so that we alleviate the anger of the people in that area. Umeya here, there's no city that I've seen managing the urban management like Kukamautu. You do have a program here in this city. The replication of that program, the identification with other areas, particularly on cleaning an area, I know Swane did not have any match with regards to management of urban management. And the last part that I wanted to talk to them, the MEC has spoken to it, where we have the outsurance, including homeless people managing. Let's reactivate our own traffic officers to go there and do their job. We cannot be this embarrassed where we are going to be seeing, including on the N12, on the road to N12 and the one going to Mukhale, that crossroad. Can we please have our own people there? That's a provincial road. So let's have those people. We are not managing it correctly if we can have our own people running that particular matter correctly. Thank you, sir.
Thanks. I think HOD Mokhoros and HOD Mdadani, GTP must do its work. HOD Mokhorosi, we know you are just arriving, but the advisor is advising you that they must work. Bontate Maisela, Libontate, get it traffic cops. We want them on the road. We hardly see them. And then, I guess when I look at then there's public transport inspectorate in transport. Can we have a clear program? You know, there are times where you can travel for almost an hour and you don't see any police person on the road. And I think that's what Tikela is talking about. Scott?
Thank you, Chair MC. The Premier and the hosting mayor and everyone else, the MECs. I think we have to set a goal post the G20 for ourselves on cleanliness and law enforcement. So those are the two things I think that must be highlighted and lifted post this process of November. And we should take advantage that we now have an environment where we can enforce the law. So I understand social development, cleaning the corners of the ladies with the children, but we have to enforce the law ourselves. So we have to put a program, an action plan that is post the G20, that is a legacy of the G20. That post the G20 will continue to have cleanliness in our cities, but secondly, there will be urban community safety. That includes encroachment on roads, that even people say they are undocumented people, yes, but they must know the law. The law must be enforced. So if we can put a very strong emphasis on enforcing the law, a lot of our problem will be alleviated, a lot of our problems. So I think, MEC, one of the things that we should do in these meetings is to make sure that we put a lot of impact on law enforcement, because that's what also we want to showcase to the world, that we are running, we have rules, we have bylaws, especially in these big metros of Johannesburg and Tshwane. The bylaws must be activated and there must be a process where bylaws are enforced largely and strongly. So I thought I should put an emphasis on that, so that post this thing we carry them through to make sure that we don't stop even beyond the G20. Thanks.
Thank you very much. The Premier already launched an integrated approach towards policing. It's headed by Ntate Mama Avolo. Jovicho calls him a moonlighter for community safety. I think we need to strengthen that, and it's what is starting to help us then identify what is it that we are going to be doing post the event. Digi? Those were the only people. Unless the team wants to make comments.
MEC,
You're fine?
I think we are fine. These are matters that we will take into the technical committee for further processing. And what we would like to do now, as part and taking a cue from bylaw enforcement, is on waste management and beautification. It's quite a long report. I'm going to ask HOD for environment not to present all 68 slides. HOD, if you can keep to the G20 areas. Thanks.
Thank you, DG. Thanks, Chairperson. Good afternoon, Premier, MECs, HODs, MMCs, executive mayors and mayors, colleagues. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Indeed, DG, the presentation is very detailed because it also answers some of the questions that were raised in the meeting. I think we must move from the premise that we want G20 to leave a legacy. And as a result, we in the Department of Environment have done a thorough detailed work and plans together with municipalities and other relevant stakeholders, such as Josie Majosi, Pick It Up, as well as NGOs, and we are looking forward to getting private sector participation in this program. We must always remember that we are not doing it just for G20 as the Premier directed, that we should go beyond G20. So we do have a program that talks to all municipalities in the province, and we have detailed activities because we have worked with municipalities. You will see that in the presentation we do have starting date and ending date. I must say, DG, that we started this because we have a provincial program called Butuke, and we have been working with municipalities. So if you go through the program, you will see that we started in July, and that's why, DG, you were questioning the photos. But the photos are from July to the 4th of September in the presentation. So what we actually do, we try and demonstrate the work that we are doing together with municipalities, and we indicate how areas look like, especially the teach areas, and how they look like after the cleaning campaign. In this program, we are also using EPWP, and we are combining our resources with municipalities to realize our objective of making sure that Gauteng is clean. Now, this program will last around December. We hope in DG that will give Gauteng people a clean Christmas. So you will see that there is a detailed plan, and I want to propose that each and every political principal in the municipality in this meeting adopt this program as a program that you need to counter-check with your own MMC who's responsible for environment. Without really taking you into the details. You will see that at Nasrec Center and Renshaw, we have been doing clearing and cleaning of illegal dumps since the 25th, 08/25, and we're hoping that we'll stop or finish on the 21st, 11/2025. And we're hoping that in our partnership with municipalities, they will see the need for continuity. You will see that we have Golden Highway, we've got Joburg CBD, High Court Precinct. Some of the activities have already taken place. We move especially around beautification. We have a progress report around Nasrec, Renshaw Islands, Golden Highway. We have moved to, sorry, I can't see from there, so I'm using my laptop here. Just move after the photos. Just keep all the photos.
These are the photos that I said must be taken weekly so that we can monitor progress weekly. HOD.
Noted, DG, we are going to do that. We actually have an album of all the photos in all the areas where we are working because it's part of our portfolio of evidence. Let's just move. Sorry, 1 minute. So on weekly basis, Premier, we are monitoring Nasrec and the surrounding areas, all the issues that are being raised, including the issue of symmetry. We are interacting with Joburg Parks. They are negotiating on the symmetry. I heard the DG said it needs to be escalated as raised by the President's office. We are also following up because they are looking at two options. One is either on the day of the event, there will not be activities or they will regulate. So it's a process of discussion that they are engaging on. I just want to give one example that in the teach areas, the challenge is the fact that we clean and people continue to dump or to litter these areas. And it's one of the areas I think the advisor was raising that enforcement is very key. However, we are requesting municipalities that part of the contribution to these problems is the fact that if refuse removal is not collected, that poses a serious challenge, whether it's a week or two. It takes us back. So municipalities have to make sure that they address service delivery on continuous basis, especially refuse removal. You will see that in Tshwane, we have been in Khaila Buroko, Union Building Precinct, that is part of our cleaning and greening. Precinct, Freedom Park, Salvacorp, Union Buildings. We are also doing installation of new swivel bins. This is in partnership with the municipalities. In this case, we are talking about Tshwane. Whilst we are on Tshwane, on the 24th of September, we will be focusing, especially in Tshwane, we are still engaging Executive Mayor in talks with your officials. We want to host a provincial ABBA month. We want to launch it in Tshwane, and we will be distributing trees to all municipalities, not only in Tshwane, but the main focus will be in Tshwane. So we are still engaging with the officials on them. You will see that there are detailed areas and progress that is listed in the report. However, in the CBD, we will be finishing our campaign on the 30th of November. And these dates are based on availability of resources. So we are expecting that if we stop on the 30th, Tshwane will make sure that there is continuity. And through our IGR, we are addressing those kind of challenges. Emfuleni, we do have a serious challenge in the sense that we, as Department of Environment during the GDAT days, there were trucks that were contributed to the municipality, and SLA was signed in 2022, and we are reviewing the MOU because of the problems we are experiencing. This is a side issue, it's not necessarily part of the report, but I'm just trying to indicate that we are meeting different challenges in municipalities and the importance of working together with them is to help them resolve their own problems, but with the support of Provincial Department of Environment. It's the same case in Ekuleni. We have a detailed report where we are doing cleaning. We will be installing street furniture. We are still concerned that if we put furniture right away, there's a likelihood that it will be vandalized. And this applies to all the focal areas where we will be putting furniture. So we are targeting that we will start putting furniture around October, which should be a closer date. We are hoping that this will also talk to the patrolling. The challenges of patrolling the streets would be on during that month. We have Boksburg, Katlehong, Thokoza, Binoni, and etc. The dates are provided, Tembiza as well. Just to give an example on the teach areas in Tembiza, we will be in Andre Mapepo Drive. Sorry, Andrew. Thank you, advisor. Drive, Brian Mazibuku Road, East and West, then Kabinde Road, Flint Mazibuko Road, Madiba Drive, and so on. These areas, Honorable Premier, there are different activities. There are where we do intensive cleaning. There are where we are doing litter picking, of course using our EPWP, but we also assist municipalities in terms of machinery. In Binoni, we are going to be focusing more on beautification. We're hoping to start, I think it has started by now. We will be finishing by the 31st of December. Obviously, it will be before the new year, and we are just putting this deadline so that we make sure that by the time we complete this project, as I indicated, that we are looking at beyond the G20. In the West Rand, we have Krugersdorp CBD. It's more landscaping and beautification. We are hoping to complete this exercise by the 21st of December, but currently we are at 80%. Some of the areas will need a repeat action. So we'll identify those spots where we need to repeat in terms of making sure that we keep them clean. But I must say that as I'm presenting this program, Chairperson, we also have a communication plan, because we need to make sure that we send a message to communities. We also make them aware. Harley City, we will also do the premises. I didn't want to get there deeper, but we are also in their focal areas, we are including the Cradle of Humankind and Maruping in particular. And those are the focal areas where we think there will be visitation and so on. But there are other areas that we will be touching, like Randfontein and etc. In
3 minutes
Sharpeville,
left, Dr.
we
Satya.
are looking. Okay. In any way, the program mainly talks to municipalities, but I must say, Chair, that we also looking together with municipalities at the taxi ranks, those that are legal, of course. We have a program that will be working with the Department of Transport. We have identified funds that we can assist them. The good thing is that they have started doing the grass cutting. However, they have given us a submission of the list. If you, in terms of my report from slide 61 to 68, it's a detailed report of the roads that we will be assisting them. These are mainly roads that will be leading to important events in the towards the G20. For instance, your roads that lead to the airports, roads that lead to Nasrec, roads that lead to important economic hubs. So, Chair, in this program, we are including the 18 CBD areas that we are working on. And I think as advised by the technical subcommittee, in the next meetings we will be submitting a report that is zooming only on areas that are leading to activities of the G20. The township, the teach areas and etc., we will be reporting to the IGR because it's work that has to be undertaken by municipalities. Chair, I think the comment that was made by MEC Ralohuku that the clinics and the hospitals need to be taken care of. The solution that we don't have, and we still have to engage with horizontal departments. For instance, we need to develop a program with Department of Education and look at how do we engage the schools to participate in this program. As MEC has indicated on the hospitals and the clinics, let me leave it at this level, Chair, because you would not have the comfort of time for me to go into other details. I apologize for the long presentation. I want to assure the meeting that in future, we will just zoom in for these meetings into areas that have got to do with the G20 activities, including accommodation. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Ntate Sakhe. We really appreciate the report. We agree with you that first, let's prioritize G20. The President is always talking about removal of weeds. There's weeds on pavements. We are just dirty people in Gauteng, and maybe perhaps you should structure your presentation in your latter statement. That first, we look into around the precinct, cleaning of the precinct. What will make us happy is have a dedicated team that will work there until and even during the event. They should be properly accredited so that every day we know there's a person there. It's either Wafiela or the weeds. President sees the weeds. It's not good for the president to concentrate to that extent. It means there's something wrong about ourselves. The other issue is We see you are focusing in Tembisa. I'm joking, but he is.
But there's a real township there.
I think the mayor asked a question if we can give her 700 trees. And MEC Maile will say, I gave you 50 million. And he'll want to know, how did you spend it? And MECs and mayors who are here, all of them, want to know what is the work done on a daily basis in each and every township in Gauteng. So if you can break it down, because another thing that your presentation is not talking to is the challenges within environment and waste collection. Do we have capacity? How big is the problem? We know Imfuleni has a challenge. How big is the problem? And what capacity do we have in each and every municipality? So that you are able to elevate your issues to this platform and encourage those with powerful signatures to then do budget allocations properly. If we are all saying cleanliness and law enforcement is our legacy project moving forward, then we require you to give us information. Do we have capacity? How big is the problem? And how do we resolve the problem? Do we do EPWP, or do we hire people permanently in townships where they reside? They are being given a stipend to survive, to every morning wake up and clean and go home, and in the evening come back and clean. So we need solutions to the problem. I think you can see all of us are passionate about it, including the president himself. So just do some research and get us to know, do we have capacity to keep Gauteng clean, and what capacity do we need, and what are the new alternatives to waste collection? Are there any hands? Oh, MEC, I didn't see, welcome. MEC Bota wants to comment. Premier, who else? Mayors? Last one. How about the track? Thank you, Executive Mayor Khadebe. In that order.
Thank you very much, Chair. So I think that there are obviously some short-term matters that we're dealing with in terms of G20 right now, and I think the presidency has really requested that we take care of the roots for the G20 as of now. However, we gave a sort of broader indication initially, and then we've now been asked to narrow it down even further. So I think that's the focus right now. Then in terms of the capacity, I don't think that there are actually any municipalities that have absolute capacity to clean what's happening now in terms of the province. What we need to do, and where the focus needs to be in a longer term, and where my focus is at the moment, is integrated waste management, waste to energy, waste to consumables, and buyback centers. Because those are going to be the matters that are going to really keep Gauteng clean, and those are things that we can start expand going forward now from sort of 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, etc. Then around the issues of the keeping the township clean, I think that's a very difficult one to speak about from the province's point of view, because we've also only got so much capacity. So I think what we need to do, and I'm asking my HOD here to assist me in this, is to get in touch with the ID as well, because I understand that they've also received an enormous amount of money or a fair amount of money, let me be reasonable, for the cleaning and various street cleaning and township cleaning, etc. So I think we need to just get the ID involved in our technical cluster as well. And then in terms of there was one more issue that I wanted to deal with. In terms of the hospitals, the clinics, those sorts of things, I think that's where we need to start to have our investors coming through as well with recycling bins, because I have the capacity to put them in touch with buyback centers and say to the buyback centers, you are licensed to collect from these particular recycling bins outside of clinics, shopping malls, schools, wherever. But we really need to allow for the investors to buy those bins and to put them up. I have spoken to the MEC of Health around this particular issue as well. And then lastly, I think what we also need to be reasonable about is that I do have the powers to fine our municipalities, but obviously it's really not very useful for me to go out and give municipalities fines of up to 5 million rand that should actually be allocated to service delivery. So my request here as well to the HOD is to ensure that our municipalities and the technical clusters have actually got the ability to reach out to us to assist them and to deal with the issues from the outset. And there should be an open door policy. It shouldn't be a matter of we're waiting for an IGR, because I do have an IGR coming up in early October. So I just thought I'd point out some of those matters as well. I think we are on top of a lot of the issues, but if we want to deal with the waste management and the illegal dumping, this is going to be a matter of education, but it must also be a matter of access. We should have enough buyback centers, integrated waste management facilities, waste to energy plants, that illegal dumping is practically impossible, because we've got more place to recycle and reproduce than what we do to dump. Thank you.
No, I was trying to suggest MEC if it's not possible, because I know the MEC for Arts and Culture is not here. If we can run just a small competition of artists who can beautify our province in terms of artistic work, the bridges, buildings, or strategy, just walls that we have like Para Wall, or that just a competition that MEC Maile may make available, either stationary package or voucher of some sort. Just call on future artists to enter, and for them to enter, they must pick up a spot, draw, and then take a picture. I think it will really create excitement in some leaders here. MEC Maile and HOD will come with a prize. So, or HOD now, you can.
We can, not the money part, but we can identify the artist and then young artist, then we can approach HOD Finance to see how we can fund. But I think it's a brilliant idea, Premier.
Who was next?
No, now I was telling Premier that sometimes collaborations assist. DJ Maporisa advertised the use of Gautrain to Scorpion Kings Festival. And the trains for the post-COVID, we have never had so many people using Gautrain. Just on that day, I'm told 37,000 people used Gautrain. So it's important for revenue collection to also collaborate the influencers and different other people. In fact, he assisted us for people to know that you can move from Soweto to Hatfield without using your own car. So those are the things we agree with you. We don't need money sometimes, we just need innovation. And that's why I was saying City of Tshwane had a unit that was established when no one understood what is global warming, and it worked out wonders for us. I don't know whether it's still there or, but I'm just saying we agree with you, Premier. So, Frotman and Lago Sports is agreeing that you will look into it. Oh, Frotman and Lago Finance?
Yeah, no, thanks. I'm happy that you are raising the issue of partnerships, but I think another issue is the will to do these things. Unfortunately for sports, I was once an MEC for sports, arts and culture, so I can meet them. and I know we'll find the money. We found the money every year. We wanted to do everything new. So we can meet and look at where we find the money there. Then you've got national, which has got lots of grants all over that are not being utilized properly and all that. So it's not so much about getting additional money from treasury or not, but the issue of partnership, as you are saying, I did see what you are referring to, even on social media, and there's been reviews as well. But the issue is how we do these things. Thanks.
Dr. Satere?
Thanks, Chair, once more. Let me start by saying, Executive Mayor, we can give the Executive Mayor those trees that are required. We are working with your team on the ground. If it can just be communicated through the MEC to the Executive Director responsible, so that is guaranteed. It's within our budget. Chair, I must also say that when we talk about continuity on an environmental issue, refuse removal is a trading function. Municipalities are collecting money from residents to ensure that they do that. So it's not as if we are accelerating this because we are preparing for G20, but it's also our constitutional mandate as province to support municipalities. That's why we are working with them very close, so that they get into the culture of making sure that they keep their jurisdiction clean at all times, not only during the G20. Thanks, Premier, for the competition. In our communication plan, we have included local radio stations, and in those local radio stations, there's going to be competitions, so that people win 500 rands and so on. The idea is to inculcate a culture of understanding Botukibote, and also the reason why people must look after their own areas. Yes, we were given 50 million, and that is assisting us with the 68 slides that we are putting there. But we are not transferring any money because we have to account for it. So we work in partnership with municipalities. However, we are in charge of disbursement of the resources where they need support. Tshwane is very big. They do have equipment, but it's just not enough for a dedicated campaign that we want to work with them on. So they do have their program. We are just emphasizing on specific areas of support. So the 68 slide does not cover the whole of Tshwane, but or any other municipality. I think the MEC has responded to the issue of long-term solution. We are working on strategies as to how are we going to make sure that we support municipalities in discharging their responsibilities regarding waste management and etc. Weeds on the road, I have noted it. I have an idea what the chairperson is referring to, but I will go back to the team that is doing that. When we are talking about teams in our context, we are talking about a team constituted by municipalities and us and other stakeholders. We use the IGR to make sure that we track on activities that are supposed to be carried out. Chair, I think those are the issues that required my response. Thank you again.
Thank you. MEC Botha, we don't have to respond here. What is better? Is it better to invest in waste collection trucks or buy street furniture that will be stolen? Maybe the team should go and investigate that, because when we speak capacity, part of capacity is waste collection, vehicles that municipalities, all of them here do not have enough, except the metros that have tenderized this function. Maybe when we speak of, do we have capacity, let's investigate that in Satya, so that we come up with innovative solutions to this and also alternatives to waste collection as compared to the tenders that are so expensive but still our cities are rich. Thank you very much. Let's move to the next item.
Let me see, the next item would be a toll. And let me explain how they've guided on this toll. The mayor will. So the mayor and the Tshwane team have identified routes that will be used by the heads of state as they come off. As an example, the Waterkloof Air Base. We would therefore, without, there are buses available, but we would ride on the buses. They will take us through the Waterkloof Air Base, towards the Waterkloof Air Base, and will turn right into Trichardt Street, onto R21, proceed to Fountain Circle, exit Nelson Mandela, right onto Madiba Street, left onto Government Avenue, and arrive at the Union Building. But it will take us from the Union Building through to the Fairview Avenue, right until we get to the German Embassy. They would like us to see the route, because that's the route, and whatever that the city has done along that route. We will move from the German Embassy towards Florence Ribeiro Street, Mackey Street, Roper Street, Justice Mohammed Street, onto Atterbury, and arrive at the Maslow Hotel. Arrive at the Maslow Hotel, which is on the Pretoria's east side. So we will be escorted by the Tshwane Metropolis Department so that there's no obstruction of traffic. So all other escorts must then go and wait at the Maslow Hotel, because that's where the last point would be for pickup. I'm not sure, Silo, where are you? Silo, tell us where the buses are. There are two buses, the Tshwane buses that are going to pick us up and direct us to the venue. Silo?
Thank you, DG, and a very good afternoon, principals and colleagues. Yes, firstly, in terms of the travel arrangements, you are correct. The buses are waiting outside Tshwane House. It's just from the main entrance, it's a 50-meter walk right at the gate, and we are going to be escorted by the TMPD. And perhaps just to give rationale behind those routes, it's because they were identified, of course, through the multidisciplinary team, and which we have been also advised by the North Joint, based on, of course, the Waterkloof Air Base being a port of entry, mainly as envisaged for states, some of the heads of states, and the precinct around mainland Main being a preferred accommodation facility. But in total, there are about 46 routes, Chair, which I think is important for the House to acknowledge. That the team, and I think the group head for regional operation and coordination will allude to that. The team focused on the 46 arterial routes and critical routes, which connects the airport with the accommodation, but also, as we all know, some of these heads of state might end up at their respective embassies, and the union buildings being one of our national key points. That, of course, has successfully
attracted a number of delegates coming into the capital city. And if you allow, Chair, I'll maybe request just briefly Ntate Anton Groenewald to just highlight what has been done in those areas. As we travel through, he can it can match what we will be looking out for. And lastly, from my side, MEC, you are correct to say there was a city sustainability unit. It is still there, and actually, as you see, this hosting of the U20 between Joburg and Tshwane, it's as a result of that particular unit having driven the agenda, the sustainability and climate action agenda. So it is mainly now mainstreaming some of those functions. It's not dead as it stands. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, DG. I'm right up here on the far right. The work that has been done is road repairs, potholes patching, street lights, traffic lights, grass cutting, verges, and so forth. The only two things that are not yet fully activated is the beautification program, and the fountain circle fountains will not be activated until much later, obviously because of the risk to us. It's a high vandalism factor. In fact, in the last 6 months, we've replaced cabling in that location 3 times. So we're wanting to only complete the revitalization and the refurbishment of Fountain Circle towards the end of September, early October. Then the routes that have demarcated, the city is host to 102 embassies. The 20 that form part of G20 are all within a 1.5 kilometer radius. The German embassy happens to be on the furthest end, and so therefore it provides you with a sense that the services that we've spoken about have been implemented. And then the Maslow Hotel was selected. 5 of the city's 7 5-star hotels are located in close proximity to the Maslow. And again, just to give you a sense that the roadworks, the road marking, the urban forestry services have been implemented. Chair, without further ado, we'd be happy to take you on the route as demarcated. If there is a request for further routes and trips, those can be arranged in future. Thank you, Chair.
Colleagues, I just want to emphasize what the DG said. Our cars must go where we will end. Last time when we were in Joburg, we caused serious traffic jam. Let all of us go inside the buses, and then our drivers can fetch us at the last point, so that we don't really create chaos in the city of Tshwane. And hopefully all of you join us. But I want a special thanks to all the executive mayors, MMCs, and representatives of municipalities. We always appreciate your presence. It's very important that we plan together this thing. We've indicated that these joint meetings every Tuesday will go beyond G20, just for us to prepare overall systems in the province without necessarily replacing the IGR sessions of the MEC for safety, for COCTA. But we really believe this kind of planning and support is very important so that we push things beyond this area. So let's meet at the buses. I want to thank the chair of the session as well and the presenters for quality reports that they continue to provide us. We are in Tshwane. Let's feel the hospitality of Tshwane. Thank you so much, colleagues. Thanks.
Thank you. Next meeting is in the West Ranch.
Where?
The team will communicate, but it's the visit to around Marope. Thank you.